Forget everything you think you know about sensible trucks. You've seen the reviews, you've scanned the spec sheets, and you've probably seen a dozen people tell you that this is just another refreshed Chevy meant to keep up with the Joneses. But they're wrong, dead wrong. What we're looking at today isn't just a 2026 Chevrolet Silverado ZR2. It's a $75,000 middle finger to the idea that you have to choose between a luxury cruiser and a desert-running beast. This year, Chevy didn't just add a few stickers and call it a day. They finally made the technology package standard, meaning the truck that can crawl over a boulder field now has the brain of a Silicon Valley startup. But here is the real kicker, the thing nobody is talking about. In a world obsessed with EVs and tiny four-cylinder turbos, this might be the last time we ever see a truck this unapologetically mechanical. This is the final boss of internal combustion pickups. Stay with me, because we're going to find out if this is the ultimate one-truck solution, or if Chevy is just charging us a premium for a suit of armor you'll never actually use. Let's start with the face, and man, what a face it is. For 2026, the ZR2 gets that iconic flow tie badge, but the real magic is in the engineering you can't see from a distance. Look at this front bumper. It's a high-cut, steel-reinforced unit that gives you a 31.8-degree approach angle. To put that in perspective, most luxury trucks would leave their plastic trim scattered across the rocks the moment you tried to follow a ZR2. And notice those red recovery hooks? They aren't just for show. If you're buying a ZR2, the unspoken rule is that eventually you're going to use them, or someone is going to use them to pull you out of something truly ambitious. The stance is 2 inches wider and 2 inches higher than a standard Silverado, and when you see it in your rearview mirror, it looks less like a vehicle and more like a predator. It's aggressive, it's wide, and with these 33-inch Goodyear Wrangler Territory MT tires, it hums on the highway with a sound that says, "I'd rather be in the mud." It's the kind of design that makes you look back every single time you park it in your driveway. But let's talk about what's under that bulging, tactical-looking hood. For 2026, Chevy is giving you the power of choice, and it's a tough one. Standard is the 3.0-liter Duramax Turbo Diesel. Now, I know what you're thinking, a diesel in a performance off-roader? But listen, 495 pound-feet of torque available almost instantly at 2750 RPM. It's quiet, it's efficient, and it'll tow 13,300 pounds without breaking a sweat. However, if you're like me and you want your neighbors to know exactly when you're leaving for work, you go for the 6.2-liter naturally aspirated V8, 420 horsepower. That's essentially the heart of a Corvette in the body of a tank. There is no turbo lag, no electrification, just raw mechanical thunder. It's paired with a 10-speed automatic that's been recalibrated for 2026 to be even snappier. Whether you're merging onto the interstate or flooring it through a dry lake bed, the way this thing delivers power is nothing short of addictive. It feels honest. In a world of fake engine noise pumped through speakers, the ZR2 is the real deal, and that V8 howl is worth every penny.
Now, we have to talk about the secret sauce, the reason this truck costs what it does and why it handles better than anything in its class. The Multimatic DSSV dampers. This is Formula One technology adapted for the dirt. Most trucks use simple shocks that get hot and fade when you push them hard. These spool valve dampers use 3 separate spool valves to control oil flow, meaning they can be soft and plush when you're hitting a pothole in the city, but instantly stiffen up when you're landing a jump or taking a corner at speed. It's like magic. You're floating. And for 2026, they've paired this suspension with front and rear electronic locking differentials. Most off-road trucks only lock the back. The ZR2 locks both. That means if you have 3 wheels in the air and only 1 on a solid rock, this truck will still find a way to move forward. It's the ultimate cheat code for the trail. You don't have to be a professional off-roader to look like one in this truck. The hardware does 90% of the work for you. Step inside, and this is where the 2026 model really pulls a fast one on the competition. In previous years, you had to pay extra for the cool stuff or settle for a cabin that felt a bit too utilitarian. Not anymore. The 13.4-inch infotainment screen? Standard. The 12.3-inch digital gauge cluster? Standard. But the real game changer is that the 15-inch head-up display and adaptive cruise control, features that used to be buried in expensive packages, are now baked into every single ZR2. The interior is wrapped in jet black and gray stone leather with that signature strike yellow stitching that just pops. It feels premium, but not delicate. Everything is designed to be wiped down after a dusty weekend. You've got Google built in, so you just say, "Hey Google, take me to the nearest trailhead." And it works. No clunky menus, no lag. It's a cabin that makes you want to drive across the country, which is a good thing, because with the comfort of these heated and ventilated seats, you actually can without feeling like you've been in a wrestling match. But here is the clickbait truth that the other guys won't tell you. The ZR2 has a hidden personality that makes it the most practical extreme truck on the market. It's the multi-flex tailgate. For 2026, this 6-function marvel is now standard. It's a step, it's a desk, it's a load stop, and it's a seat for the tailgate party. You'll find yourself using it more than the actual truck bed. But let's be real, the reason you're watching this is because you want to know if you should buy the ZR2 or the Ford Raptor. The Raptor is wider and crazier, sure, but it's a nightmare to live with in the city. The ZR2 is a truck you can actually park at the grocery store. It's a truck that can fit in a standard garage. It's the sleeper of the off-road world. It doesn't scream for attention with giant vinyl graphics, but the second you leave the pavement, it proves it belongs at the top of the food chain. It's the most well-rounded package Chevy has ever built, and in this 2026 trim, they finally removed all the excuses not to buy one by making the luxury features standard. Let's dive deeper into the daily driving experience, because that's where 99% of these trucks will spend their time. On the highway, you'd expect a truck with mud terrain tires and a lifted suspension to be a noisy, wandering mess, but it's not. The cabin insulation in the 2026 model has been upgraded, and those Multimatic shocks soak up bridge expansions and highway expansion joints like they aren't even there. You can carry on a conversation at 70 miles per hour without raising your voice. Then there's the terrain mode, which allows for one-pedal rock crawling. It uses the brakes to help you modulate your speed with just the accelerator, making technical trails feel like a walk in the park. It's this duality, the ability to be a refined commuter during the week and a mountain goat on the weekend, that justifies the price tag. You aren't just buying a vehicle, you're buying 2 vehicles in one.
And what about the fuel economy? Look, if you're buying a 6.2-liter V8, you aren't doing it to save the planet. You'll probably see around 14 to 17 miles per gallon if you're lucky. But that's where the Duramax diesel option shines for 2026. If you want the ZR2 looks and capability, but you actually have a long commute, that diesel will get you upwards of 23 mpg on the highway. That is unheard of for a truck this capable. Chevy has essentially created a choose-your-own-adventure powertrain lineup. Do you want the roar and the soul of the V8 or the relentless torque and efficiency of the diesel? There is no wrong answer here, only the answer that fits your lifestyle. This flexibility is something the competition just doesn't offer at this level of off-road performance. So, is it worth the hype? If you want a truck that feels like a custom high-end build from the factory, one that can tow your boat on Friday, crawl a black diamond trail on Saturday, and take you to a fancy dinner on Sunday, then yes, the 2026 Silverado ZR2 isn't just a vehicle, it's a multi-tool on 33s. It represents the pinnacle of what a gasoline-powered truck can be before everything goes electric. It's the end of an era for pure internal combustion capability, and Chevy is going out with a bang. You're not just buying a pickup, you're buying the freedom to never have to say, "I can't go there." Whether it's a flooded street in the city or a remote ridge in the Rockies, the ZR2 is built to handle it all without breaking a sweat or losing its composure. In 2026, that kind of peace of mind is worth every single penny.
If you're still on the fence, I want you to consider the resale value. ZR2s hold their price like gold bars because people know they are built to last. The frame is reinforced, the suspension is exotic, and the engine options are legendary. You're making an investment in your lifestyle. If you're wondering how this beast handles a 0 to 60 pole compared to the diesel version, or if you want to see exactly how that multi-flex tailgate handles a 500-pound load, click the video on your screen right now. I've done a full deep dive comparison that will blow your mind and probably help you decide which engine to pick. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you don't miss our upcoming 1,000-mile endurance test through the Mojave Desert. Trust me, you don't want to miss what happens to the suspension after 10 hours of non-stop punishment. I'll see you in the next one.